This is Let's Talk Football here on the sportshacks.com with me, Cathal Dervin. I'm delighted to be joined again tonight by Kevin Bannon, Irish journalist living on Merseyside, keen interest in football all his life and a keen interest in working in football in his role as press officer stroke commentator, I would say, Kevin, is the best way to describe it. With newly promoted, I'll let you pronounce the name of the team.
AFC Filed.
AFC Filed. And again, as we said to you on Monday, congratulations on that. We're going to talk Champions League to begin with, Kevin, and what a week it has been. I mean, on Tuesday night, PSG against Bayern, as good as it gets.
Yeah, look, I mean, we were all talking when we saw how the draw was and these two sides coming up against each other. They have been the best two sides in Europe this season, pound for pound, I would say. And it was just great, wasn't it? It's you were just sitting back. The amount of times I was watching it and just was like laughing out loud to myself as things happened because I was enjoying it so much. And some of the attack and play on this side is just a joke. Both of the front threes are so joyous to watch. And I know, obviously, particularly on Irish television, Kenny Cunningham had quite a bit to say about the defending. But
he was standing up for defenders, let's say.
He was, but I mean, there's only so much you can do, really, I think. I'd be of the school of thought that these attacking players are that high level of quality and playing that well, that there's only so much you can do. And it was just brilliant. Look, Bayern, there was a point where when it became 5-2 where I was like, oh God, this could get really dicey. But to be fair to Bayern, with obviously company in the stands, they dug in and got themselves back into it. And I mean, it's all set up now for next week. And yeah, it was just brilliant. It was just great to watch. It really was. And it shows you where sometimes it hasn't always been clear, particularly if you watch Premier League football. But the game can be fun. And I think it's important that we remember
Absolutely. that. I'm gonna talk about VAR a little later in relation to the other Champions League match this week. Yeah. But VAR, Diaz's goal, flag went up, but VAR did allow the goal to stand. And I have to say, on the night, I just thought Harry Kane was in a different class. Is he a better player now than he was in the Premier League?
I don't know if he's a better player, but I think what Bayern have done Bayern have played to his strengths. Kane at his best, we saw it for that goal, loves to drop into those little spaces. And it's so important that he gets runners off him. So when you have Elise and Diaz running either side of him to get in behind, that's where he's at his best because he can pick that pass, but also he can drive forward. And we know how good a finisher he is. You go back to the Euros 2 years ago now with England. The reason England, I know they got to the final and they were beaten, but they were third throughout that tournament. They were an awful watch. And the reason was because they couldn't get the best out of Kane. This is how you do it. At his peak at Spurs, he had Heung-min Son running off him in behind. And that he combined so well. And that's how you play with Kane. Look, he still needs to step up and deliver, which he did. The assist for the Diaz goal, I still don't think I've ever really seen him do it. And initially, you're like, wait, is that Joshua Kimmich actually playing that pass? But no, it's Harry Kane.
It's Harry Kane.
So I don't know if he's a better player because obviously he's the wrong side of 30 now, and he is not at the tail end of his career, but coming toward it. His season has been phenomenal. Obviously, the average Bundesliga team is of lower quality than the average Premier League team, but he still has scored 33 goals, I think it is, in the Bundesliga this year. I don't think he'll break Lewandowski's record, which is, I want to say off the top of my head, 42. Because basically they're going to rest him because they've already won the title. But he is phenomenal. And when you combine him with Diaz and Elise in particular, I thought was absolutely magnificent the other night. They were a scary proposition.
Can they turn it around?
I think they'll do it. I think I was thinking this the other day, and I think they'll have enough because for me, although PSG can be devastating, as we've seen, Hakimi pulled up right at the very end. If he's out, he's a massive loss. He's probably the best fullback in the world. I think at home, Bayern will have an advantage because it's not that PSG don't travel well, but I think it'll be harder for them to sort of implement their style of play. I don't think it'll be as chaotic as it was the other night. The quality will be high, but I just think Bayern, with Kane, Diaz and Elise, they seem a bit more consistent. While not as explosive as Dembele, Doué, and Kvaratskhelia, they're always going to do something. You could see them each scoring and each getting an assist in some way, shape, or form. And I just think, particularly with the second leg at home, they'll just about do it. It'll be really tight, but I fancy Bayern by a single goal. They might even do it on penalties.
I was just going to say, I'm going to stick my neck out and say this is going to go all the way to penalties. And I think Harry Kane will score the winner. And Harry Kane will play against Arsenal in the Champions League final. Or will he? VAR. I hate it.
Do you want to go on a rant here?
I'll let you go on the rant. I've ranted already this week on the Sports Hacks about VAR.
I've seen your piece.
I ranted last week on the Sports Hacks about VAR. Just get rid of it.
Look, I'm very much. Look, let's see how we get on. I try not to let it get myself riled up about it. Last night, look, so the first one, I think the first penalty is a bit soft on Gyökeres, considering, he does well, he gets the right side of the defender, but I don't know, the size of him, like, stay up. But he doesn't go to ground. I'm sorry, I think the second one is a penalty. His hand is out there, and I get that it comes off his knee, but for me, Ben White, tuck your hand in behind you. You know the rules. The Davis one the night before, I think, is a nonsense because he's right next to him. What else is he supposed to do? But I do think when it happened, I was dumbstruck when they overturned the Eze one. I couldn't believe it. But having watched it, like, I've seen so many clips of it, I actually don't think it is a penalty. I don't think Hansko actually touches it. But when the referee saw it, he gave it, and I couldn't believe they overturned it. But look,
it's unusual. It is unusual.
Yeah,
to be fair, in a penalty situation. What was interesting was that UEFA have now come out with a statement that said no foul was committed. So UEFA were watching the same replays you were watching by the sound of it.
Yeah, like I just think I think Eze is definitely looking for it, and it's that we've seen that foul so many times where the attacker just nips in front of the defender's standing foot just catches them, he goes down, it is a penalty. But I just couldn't believe they overturned it because the referee was looking right at it. He clearly thought he saw there was contact, but he didn't. And I think given the context of the game, I know we might get onto it, but Arsenal, like, I fancy them as well. I think they will go through. I will put that in. But I think it's less to do with them and more to do with Atletico, because I think Arsenal had a great opportunity to win that game last night, particularly first half. I thought they were much the better side the first half. But I do wonder if it's that old adage thing where you just have to go and take it sometimes.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
We're not going to see a 5-4 in the second leg on Tuesday night, are we? I don't think either of them are capable in a Champions League semi-final second leg of having a 5-4.
Particularly if Julian Alvarez is out injured. I mean, that would be such a loss for the whole tie because he's a wonderful player. No, I don't think it will be. I don't even know if Atletico will score. I didn't think they were great last night. They improved in the second half when he switched it up. And then Griezmann started having a bit of an influence on the game. Obviously, he hit the bar, had that volley and just picking up nice pockets. And if Lookman had his shooting boots on, who knows if they would have gone on to win the game. But I just think, particularly in the middle, I thought Koke and Johnny Cardoso were so physically outmatched in there by Rice and Zubimendi and Odegaard. And I thought Arsenal were just too powerful for them, particularly in that second half. And if you look at the game as well, Atletico faded with 10 minutes to go. Like, it was Arsenal who were looking for that win, and I just feel like they have the advantage in that physical department. Atletico rely a lot on Alvarez, and when he can't really get to the pitch of the game, they look a bit out of ideas. Griezmann, wonderful footballer. I love him. I always have loved him. He's leaving to go to MLS at this summer for a reason. He can't do it at this level anymore.
He probably owes them one last big game, and you think that has to be Tuesday now at this stage.
It has to be, yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal, they're going to play Fulham before they get to play Atletico. If they beat Fulham, they could be 6 points clear at the top of the table. Will that be a psychological influence on Tuesday night, do you think, or will they just park that and just concentrate after they get Fulham out of the way? Just concentrate on Atletico.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. I don't think it's fair thinking about trying to think ahead in these situations. You've a handful of games left. You've 2 trophies on the line. You have to, in my head, not necessarily for Arteta's job, but I think as a club, where they come, I think you have to win one of them. So again, it's the old adage, isn't it? One game at a time, but it has to be for Arsenal. Just focus on the here and now. Like I said, we talked about their transfer window. They bought for depth. Let's see it.
Yeah. In terms of Arsenal, then, as I said, if they beat Fulham, they could go 6 points clear. Manchester City don't play until Monday night with a game against Everton, the last game of the weekend series. So for City, just relax and put your feet up and wait.
Yeah, and we talked about it, haven't we? About how much they seem to be in a bit of a groove, playing with confidence, playing with real style, comfortable where they are in this title race. Now, the Premier League announced the fixtures. They have, I think it's 4 games in 12 days at the end of the season. So this break is crucial for them, and I think it suits them to be second, to be chasing down Arsenal. I think it does. I think Arsenal are nervier when they are the hunted, if you get me. And look, they're playing Everton on Monday night. I think a few weeks ago, maybe our first recording, we were bigging up David Moyes and what a great job he's done. They've conceded
Yeah,
2
that's gone well, Kevin.
Yeah, they've conceded 2 last-minute winners in their last 2 games, and I just think, look, they've an outside shot at European football, but they're in no danger of relegation. It's been a good season, first season in their new stadium. Excuse me. I think City will win that relatively comfortably. I do think Arsenal will win on Saturday evening against Fulham, who can be tricky. Like, I think Silva is a very underrated coach, and what he's done with that Fulham team is really good. I think it'll be nervy on Saturday, and I do feel like Arsenal might get in their own heads at some point in that game. But eventually, I think they'll pull through, and so it will be 6 points, but swiftly back to 3.
Swiftly back to 3. I'm going to throw a curveball at you for a second. But Manchester City against Everton, Jack Grealish injured and won't play. He got a lot of stick this week for having an afternoon out with his mates and falling asleep. And is it fair?
Look, I think the people who took the photo, who are supposed to be his friends, are probably the ones more in the wrong. I think it's these lads play at such a high intensity, high stakes environment. Like, this is their livelihood. I don't mind guys blowing off a bit of steam. Maybe not mid-season, but look, who am I to tell anyone what to do? I've no problem with footballers doing that, going out for a few drinks or whatever, particularly if they're out injured. Maybe if they have a break, that's fine. Obviously, this isn't the first time it's happened to Grealish. Living over here as well with the British press, they treat him very differently to when, say, Marcus Rashford went to Belfast that time. So I think, look, it's one of those unfortunate things for him that he's probably saying to his mates, lads, what are you doing? Like, you know who I am, in a way, this sort of profile that I have. Well, I think Grealish, he made the wrong decision when he went to City, I think, for his footballing career. He'll argue, I won a treble, what are you talking about? You're full of nonsense. But he hasn't been the same player, really. And look, it'd be interesting to see where he ends up now.
It's also interesting, in the same week, he renewed his role as an ambassador for the Great Britain Special Olympics team. And, I know he does other work in other areas, etc. So the story isn't always the story, Kevin, if you know what I mean. And
exactly. And I think anyone who's dealt with him, has spoken about what a character he is and what a good, seemingly nice fella he is, basically. And as you said, he's done a lot of charity work, and it's an unfortunate moment for him.
Yeah, and people People I know who worked with him when he played for Irish underage teams, etc., will tell you he's still a good guy, and they've met him at various
Yeah.
places since he left, and they talk about him with nothing but the highest height of respect. And we mentioned Harry Kane earlier. There's another one who got away, but that's a story for another day. We might talk about that in the summer when we're not at the
Wait,
World Cup. And
did Jack Grealish play for Ireland underage? I wasn't aware.
Manchester United against Liverpool, probably the game of the weekend as we prepare for the round 2 of the Champions League semi-finals. But Mo Salah, good news, he may not have played his last game for Liverpool.
No, and we spoke about that. It's good, isn't it? Because you can't have him going out like that, limping off with injury. It's probably a bit too soon. Maybe I think this
Yeah,
weekend.
it won't be this. It won't be this weekend.
Is the thinking? Yeah. So unfortunately for him, he won't get to play against United one last time, who he has a great record against. I thought United were very good in the first half against Brentford, not so good in the second. But if they get the Champions League relatively comfortably, I think they only need 2 points in remaining games. I mean, Carrick is definitely putting himself into the frame for this. If I was the hierarchy, I'd probably steer clear. I think you need someone. Luis Enrique would be the dream. It's never going to happen. I do wonder where they go if it's not Carrick. Do you wait for a Nagelsmann after the World Cup? It seems a bit risky. But I think for United particularly, and we haven't really talked about them, I think they have some good pieces in there. Kobbie Mainoo signed a new contract extension today. I think that was important. I think he has been excellent since Amarin's gone. And I mean, what else can you say about Bruno Fernandes? For me, anyway, clearly the player this season.
It would be criminal if they let him go now.
I don't think they will. I think if they were ever going to sell him, it was last summer when that, and they, it's the reporting's well out there that the massive offer from Saudi came. And that may not be the case anymore if you're reading the news with the PIF, but that's a separate podcast all of in itself. I think you hang on to them because I think you sell to them. Look at the team we have here. We've addressed the goalkeeper position. Laman's very unspectacular, but so solid that you don't even have to think about him. You've really good young defenders in Aiden Heaven, Lenny Yaro, with the likes of Maguire and Martin is there. Need a new left back, yes. Need at least 2 midfielders, but you have Mainoo. And then I think Šeško, to be fair to him, after a rough start, has really come on. And then Cunha and Bumo, Ahmad is quite good as well. There's something there for United, and I think that's what you sell Bruno on. Basically, look, we are building something. We've said this before, but I think there is more of a case to it this year. But once again, for United, it'll come down to recruitment in the summer and getting that right.
And who the manager is, and we'll talk about that again. Just very quickly then to look at a few other matches. Friday night, of course, Leeds United against Burnley. Burnley without a manager, Stephen Gerrard seems to be the favourite for that one. Craig Bellamy mentioned as well. And Brian Barry Murphy from Cork, who's taken Cardiff City into the Championship. Burnley, of course, will be looking for somebody who can rebuild now and mount another challenge. And Brian Barry Murphy bringing Cardiff to Cork in July if you're down on Leeside. Kevin, if you want to see Cardiff City in action down there. For Leeds, I think if they win this one, they're safe, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. Look, we talked about as well their performance in the FA Cup semi-final, which I didn't think was great, but they'll fancy themselves home against already relegated Burnley. They've done enough, particularly in the last month and a half or so, to really sort of drag themselves away. And that's another interest. I know we talk about managers a lot on the show, but Farke is another interesting one. I mean, they nearly got rid of him in the summer, but he's done what he was asked to do. And as for Burnley, I mean, I'd love to see Brian Barry Murphy given a shot there. He's done a really good job at Cardiff. Obviously, they would have been expected to come up from League One, having gotten relegated. But again, he's done what's asked of him. Another young, exciting coach. Obviously, came through at Manchester City. And let's just say coaching is in his background, given who his father is.
And winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Steven Gerrard doesn't strike me as the type of person who'd go to Burnley. And maybe that's a Steven Gerrard issue, more so than a Burnley issue. I know he went to Rangers and he was at Villa and didn't really do do too much, particularly at Villa. He won the title with Rangers against one of the worst Celtic sides in the last 25 years. So I don't think let's just say Stevie G may feel like he deserves a Premier League job rather than Burnley. Can I put it nicely?
That's a nice way of putting it. Keith Andrews has done a good job this season, absolutely no doubt about that, with Brentford. They play West Ham on Saturday. Spurs have to wait until Sunday when they play Aston Villa, who of course are in European action as we speak. You're sticking by Spurs to stay up, are you?
I have to. You have to double down with these things. I'm wearing white as well today, so I have to stick. Funny, I think they'll both get beaten at the weekend. So West Ham and Spurs. So I'll say it's going to go down to the last day, and you heard it here first. Spurs will beat Everton to stay up on the last day of the season.
But you've said that already.
I have, but I'm gonna keep saying it until the end of the season, until I'm proven wrong, which will probably be in a few weeks. But yeah, again, like I said the other day, you have to have conviction in these. And Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, Premier League 26-27.
Brentford performed admirably against Manchester United. Manager's done a good job, but he needs a win as well. I mean,
he does. Like, it's funny, isn't it, the way you look at Brentford now, like considering how they were spoken about in the summer, like losing Mbumo, losing Vissa, losing Thomas Frank and half of his coaching staff. Keith Andrews coming in, never managed a Premier League side. And yet, they're ninth, which is fine, but they're also 2 points, off sixth, which if things work their way and Villa win the Europa League and finish fifth, that sixth spot could be a Champions League spot, and they're within a shout of it. I think Andrews has done a remarkable job. I really do. And the argument is, anyone could go in and manage the way to set up the structure, but he still has to do it. Like I've said this a few times today. And the best coaches get the best out of what's at their disposal. And did anyone see this coming from Igor Thiago? No, he's in line to be in Brazil's World Cup squad in the summer as one of their main centre forwards. Michael Coyote at wing back showed flashes last season, but has gone to another level. It helps, I think, when you bring in Queven Kelleher, who has been magnificent this season.
I loved when he said to Jamie Carragher the other night when they started talking about Queven, he says, "You're not getting him back."
Yeah, well, I argued to anyone who would listen that Chelsea should have bought him in the summer, but anyway, that's past it now. I think Andrews has to win manager this season, considering what they lost. I think you look surprised there, but I think, like, okay, maybe you have to give it to Arteta if Arsenal win the league.
If Arsenal
win, but Andrews has to.
If Arsenal win the double.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll concede that. But Andrews, yeah, it's a remarkable job. The tricky part is, of course, now, can you do it again next season? So, but really exciting, and considering he was maligned in some quarters as a pundit, and obviously as the assistant coach under Stephen Kenny, he's proven the doubters wrong this season at least.
And he signed an extended contract already. And of course, let's not forget that Stephen Rice is there with him as well, who famously scored a goal for Shamrock Rovers in North London many, many years ago. And been great to see him do such a good job there as well. Kevin, as always, thank you. Couple of weeks still to play, all to play for in the Premier League. We will be back. And I'm sure next week he'll tell us again that Spurs will beat Everton to stay in the Premier League.
100%.